To help you achieve the best results from the lessons on Frank's YouTube channel, Frank has developed a range of quality products, including the watercolour brush set, which has the 1.5 and 3/4 inch goat hairs and the number 3 rigger. Frank has also developed his own range of artist quality watercolour paints. These paints come in 12mm tubes and are the 8 colours Frank uses himself in his video tutorials. These products and many more can be viewed in detail at Frank's art store at simplypainting.com. If you prefer to order by phone, please use the following numbers. We ship worldwide.
Hello, it's Frank again. I've been with you all the way. Imagination is fun when it's free to run. Come on, we paint this a brand new day. Simply painting with Frank today.
Hello there, and welcome once again to Simply Painting. This time we're in upstate New York, and I'm on board the W.W. Durant. Now the reason the boat is called that is there's a gentleman called William Durant was the original owner of 630,000 acres around this area here, and he built camps for the rich and famous to come and spend their summers. Unfortunately, the poor man, in the end, he lost it all. Yeah, see, you get involved with these rich guys, you don't come out too good. However, I'm fine, and I've had a lovely lunch, and I'm going to visit the captain now. He's got a lovely little wheelhouse here. Maybe he'll let me drive it, I don't know, we'll try. And then it'll be off to a museum to find out more about this area. But first, let's visit the captain.
Let me get out of your way.
Well, we've made it into the wheelhouse. And I'm not going to ask the captain to let me steer this vessel because it's far too valuable. But what I am going to ask him is, where are we? Where are we, Captain, exactly?
We're on Racket Lake, which is the largest natural lake in the Adirondack Park. You're really in the middle of the largest wilderness area east of the Mississippi River.
My word. Well, that's now you know. And we're heading back to port. And then we're going to visit the local museum to see how they travelled in the old days, because they didn't always have this kind of luxury, you know. So, let's go. Well, here we are in the Adirondack Museum. Now, beside me is a buckboard, a horse with a little buggy. And this is what the people used to get from the train station to their homes, because these trains that came up here, the very rich people had them. They're their own carriages, would you believe? A whole carriage, wonderful. However, we'll talk about that later. We also believe that there's a beautiful painting exhibition in this museum, and we're going to go over there now, maybe get some inspiration from it, and then it'll be off and paint a picture. Well, here we are inside the gallery, and I've picked 3 local scenes here, painted by the one artist, a gentleman called Jonas Lee. And they're oils, but they're all winter scenes, and that kind of attracted me. I think they're lovely pictures anyway. So maybe what we might do is take a little photograph outside, and then turn it into a winter scene. Well, behind me is a scene and a half, as I'd call it. It's magnificent. Let me get a photograph of this. This would make a wonderful picture. Hello there. Well, how'd you enjoy Racket Lake? Wasn't it nice? And we had a lovely lunch on that boat. And furthermore, for those of you who might be interested, the captain can marry you. He's licensed to do so, yes. Anyway, I have one wife and that'll do me, thanks. I can't afford 2 bags of golf clubs at the moment. Well, anyway, let's get on about the picture we're going to paint. Well, we thought about it and we haven't done a snow scene in the series, so I thought that's what we'll do. And that's what we're going to do. But before we do, let's talk about the materials. And here they are. We have 6 watercolours, and they are lemon yellow, ultramarine, Payne's grey, burnt umber, light red, and raw sienna. And we have our white gouache, which is very handy sometimes for our snow scenes. We have our 3 brushes, which is the large goat hair, the small goat hair, and the rigger. We have the water. We have the cloth for working the water on the brush and controlling it, and we have a tray, which is our palette for putting the paints out on, and last we have a sheet of paper which measures 14 by 10. It's 140 pounds weight, and we're painting longwise, therefore we're painting in landscape. So without further ado, let's have some more fun. Horizon, sky, middle and foreground. And first thing we do is draw the horizon. But this is where something different comes in. Now watch me carefully. I've drawn the horizon. Now these Adirondack mountains that when covered in snow, they're beautiful. But how do we save the snow? We could paint them in white in the old masking fluid that we use sometimes, but that'd be a bit slow. Here's another way. Na, na, na. I'm just drawing in very roughly what the Adirondack mountains look like. That looks like them, very like them. Now, how do I protect those? Now watch this, folks. This, I'll only do it once, he says. I'm going to put this back in there. See that? Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm now going to paint my sky with my mountains upside down. You'll see why in a minute. All will be revealed, yes. Take some of the old blue here, because I don't want any raw sienna this time to... I'm just going to go straight into the blue. And watch. Look, I've got a line to follow here. It's like painting by numbers. Oh, a life in the ocean waves. Oh, see this? Look. Now remember, you've got to do this pretty quickly because it needs to be nice and wet. You can go over it several times, but you must remember you also got the 2-minute syndrome, haven't you? Look at that. Now there's my mountain. See, and of course there's no way that the water's going to run uphill, is there? So I've saved the job, haven't I? And then we're going to get a bit heavier up at the top here. Darker, is that it? Yes. We'll turn it over in a second. Now I'm just going to put some light red mixed with the blue up at the top of the page here. See that? And as soon as I've got this done, I'm going to turn this page over and you'll see what I've attained, hopefully. Isn't that easy? Now it's all curled up and everything else. Don't you worry about that. All that will go away when I turn this around like this. Look, put my thing up there and stick it down like that. I got to stick it down in the 4 areas that I need. So we got some tape here. Look at that. One there. One there. Now curl it right up like that. Look, press it right up and put on our piece up at the top here. That's the job. Hey, got him. My goodness. And then one more up here. Look, we just have to release that and let it. See, it bubbles a little bit. Now you can, if you like, you could dry that paper before you did that and you wouldn't have any cockling in it then. We have a little bit of cockling there. You know what I mean by cockling? There we go. That's lovely. Now we can dry it. Wasn't that handy? There we go. Now you see what I've done. I now have nice white mountains and now I can put in the snow. Was that easy, wasn't it? But you just take a little more time. In other words, what you do is turn the page upside down when you've drawn your mountains in and then put them in, paint around them. And of course the paint won't run uphill, as I say. Now we're going to put some of the, we're going to assume that the light in this case is coming this way. So we're going to put some, these are just marks on them, just to make the mountains come to life. You see that? And that one there be it's a big kind of, it's a pointy one that time. And you notice as well that the brush is kind of running downhill. See it? That way. I'm not going across. Don't go across the mountains, otherwise it looks silly. Now you can always add a bit more in here, so don't overdo this. They're the little indentations in the mountains. You know where the mountains are up and down. And you see they begin to come to life, don't they? Now, that's it. Now, clean off your brush. Now, when you come down the hill a bit, of course, what's the first thing you hit? Forest, isn't it? You've got lovely pine trees, or whatever they call them, on the Adirondaks, haven't you? Now, look, it's starting off up here. The corner of the baby goat hair, that's all it is. Now don't make it too strong in the beginning. As you get down the hill a little bit, you can strengthen them. There's a big sweep of trees down there. Probably ski slopes and things in between these, is there? You can slide down. You know, I could never handle that. I don't know what it is. I'm not the best skier. I'm the guy who came down the hill on the, in the what do you call the ski lift. And actually, as we got towards the bottom, I began to realise, how are we going to get off? And I said to Dominic, Dominic, we're flying down this mountain on this ski lift. How are we going to get off at the bottom? Because if we jump off, it'll hit us. And we had to leap off and run like mad. So the thing went kind of down round in a circle and back up again. So for those of you who don't like going down on skis, I advise that you don't come down on the ski lift either. It can be quite hazardous, is the word we're looking for. Now I'm going right across here as we're talking. You see that? This is just to create. Now I'm keeping them fairly faint because I can go darker in a minute. You can always darken, but it's not easy to lighten. See that? It's only little downward strokes. When we get right across the far side here, then we can start coming back. Now, I'm leaving the prickly bits sticking up. They're the top of the trees, aren't they? And then they go up there a bit like that. Now let's get darker. And this is a mixture of lemon yellow and Payne's grey. See, we can go, oh, that's very dark, isn't it? That's better. Because obviously as we come down the hill, as we get nearer, these ones will be darker, won't they? These are nearer to the lake itself. Right across like that. Yes, that man built that boat himself. And he wasn't a sea captain at all. He was a builder. He used to build houses and things like that. And then he decided he wanted to do this. So he built that complete boat. It's beautiful and lovely lunches they do. And we had a great time. I like it when you're inside as well. It's not like these open yacht things, you know, where they have you working all day, pulling ropes and things. I think it's a rich man's way of punishing himself, sailing, isn't it? I know more about that. I'm always talking about sailing. I shouldn't be. I'm sure there's great fun in it if you like that kind of thing. Now, right down. Look, I'm coming down to the bottom. Now, give it a squint now and again and see if that's beginning to make sense. It might be that you need a bigger hump in the middle here somewhere where they went back up the hill. That's a bit better, isn't it? See, there's a kind of a hill that went up there and it came down like that. None of them all level. Take your time with this. Pucks of time at it. If you get this right, the rest will fall into shape. I mean, it's quite a simple picture. Snow scenes are dead easy and very handy for your own Christmas card. Think of that. When it comes along to Christmas time, you get out the old brushes there and you bash out these things, 20, 30, for your special friends. And you can put on the bottom, you see, sign your name. And they see this and they wonder, who is it? And then they realise you've painted this picture yourself. It could be your first commission can come out of this, you know. They say, my, that's lovely. I must get somebody to do that for my anniversary or something. So off you go. You're in business. Isn't that it? Now, I'm not going to go much lower than that because I want to keep a little bit of... Just on the lake itself, on the edge of the lake, it's quite snowy. Now, is that a bit flat looking? I don't think so. No, I think we give it one little twirl over here, just a little. Now, to keep the corner of the brush working, because that's what does the job for you. You don't have to worry about it at all. That's nice now, isn't it? Yeah, that'll do. That's pretty good, isn't it? Just give that a little dry, shall we? Yes. That's lovely. You know, this park, this Adirondack Park, 6 million acres it covers. Can you imagine that? That's as big as Ireland. Well, not quite, but very nearly. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. 6 million acres. Ah, goodness me. And you can wander around there and see the wildlife and everything else. Okay. Anyway, there you go. But you need it. You know something, an observation I found, that one of the things I found in America, and this is water, by the way. This is the lake itself. And of course, during the winters, it's always reasonably calm because some of the time it's actually frozen solid, so it had to be calm. It couldn't have waves on it. But my observation was that I noticed that, in general, American people eat a lot faster than we do. They eat like man. You go into a restaurant, they serve you your, they say you want soup or salad, you get that, bang, it's on the table before you know where you are. And so it goes on, and you find yourself out the front door and you haven't had time to have a chat at all. Sure, we at home would like to be able to take 3 hours anyway, at least for your dinner, because you want to have a bit of a chat. And you know the way we're chatting here, well, you don't want to be fired out the door before you get into the place. But it seems to be a natural pastime to eat rather quickly. Mightn't be a good idea, actually, you know. Now, I don't want 100 letters from every restaurant in America now telling me to mind my own business, that they need more customers and have to get you out quickly. Anyway, there we are. Look, we did it, and I'll tell you how in a minute. Let me just dry it while it's nice and dry. There you go. Now, what I did was I laid down a wash, or I put a line of ultramarine blue across first, which was quite wet. There was a lot of water in it because I didn't want it too heavy. And then I just added in some lemon yellow. It gave it that kind of greeny, kind of bluey look. Because when water is frozen or that, it always looks that colour. Do you ever notice that? Right, off we go. Next bit. Now I'm going to just add a little bit of life to the far side of the bank here, because here and there on that bank, it's kind of, you see that? It's muddy and it's kind of reeds and things showing through. Just an odd bit here and there. Don't do it the whole way across. Don't make it a straight line across. And that makes it look like the bank goes up like that. There's a kind of a lip on it, if you know what I mean. See that? And that'll go down into the lake just a little bit. Now don't, as I say, I don't want to see a straight line right across. That looks awful. Just here and there. There we go. Do you know, it's an amazing thing, but an awful lot of people who paint didn't actually start until they either retired, which I hate that word. I hate that word, retire. You know, you know what it means? I'll tell you now in a second. I'm just going to draw a line up here. Well, that's maybe just a little bit too near. Let's rub it out. Got the end on the pencil. There you go. I'm going to go up here a bit. You know what this is? Just give me a line up. That's it. That's all I'm doing, just one single line, and you'll see why in a minute. Anyway, that word retire, to get back to it, it actually means exactly what it says. Retire, go backwards, go away, retire, disappear. That's a horrible thought, isn't it? So you retire, we'd like you to retire. That's what it means. You know, in the old days, like when they were having these huge vast dinner parties and that in Europe, they used to say, the ladies will now retire to the drawing room. In other words, to go away. Get out of our way. We want to get on with the drinking and the cigar smoking and all that kind of stuff. I think that's awful. You don't retire. What you do is you take up a new occupation. That's what you do. And it can be painting, of course, that's what I mean. Because lots and lots of people don't start until they have finished what they've already been doing, let's say. And the horrible thing as well is, did you know that 7 out of 10 people are doing something they don't like? How about that? I love what I'm doing. Couldn't think of anything nicer. Trouble is, I didn't start quick enough, but there we are. So that's just telling you now what retirement means. So don't be using that word. You're not retiring. You're changing your lifestyle. You're doing something that you like, but you're not retiring. Now, look at that tree. Got the big brush now. We've got to put some leaves on it. It's a pine tree on this side of the lake, isn't it? So mix some of the, there it is, some of the yellow and some of the Payne's grey. Put the two of them together, and we get a nice evergreen kind of colour. And then off we go, up this. See, and now on the far side we do the same thing. See this brush, this is my, what do I call it? My obedient brush. It does as it's told, doesn't it? Sometimes. Look at that, it's, see? And it gets narrower when we get to the top, and they can come out a bit further. Now if we want, we can put some snow and stuff on them later, but we have a pine tree, haven't we? Not easy. You'll be finished this in no time. We've got to get over the far side here now, because it's, of course, a bit bare looking over the other side of the lake. And we need to get some of the raw sienna and a little bit of the light red. I want to put a bit of colour into the thing. See how easy these are? And now this is just, there's little reeds and rushes and things are sticking out of the lake and on the edge of the lake. And they sort of tear down. Do you see the way you go up, you go down, you go down? Don't make, again, keep avoiding straight lines. At the same time, you'll find that and that are parallel. See it? You don't have them running down the hill like that. Otherwise, it looks kind of as if the lake is running uphill. These are little tips that I found, and you know how I found them? By mistakes you learn. And they say the best lesson you'll ever get is practice. True. More I practice, the better I get. Isn't that right? A famous golfer once said that, Gary Player. Somebody said to him, "My goodness, Mr. Player, but you keep getting these balls directly out of the bunker into the hole. One shot, isn't it fantastic? You're very lucky." And he said, "Yep. And the more I practice, the luckier I get." And that's the truth. Now, isn't that coming along nicely? Now, we've got to put a little bit of balance here as well. So I think, let's put some nice, mix those two. Again, we're going to stick with the yellow and the Payne's grey with a tiny bit of the blue in it this time, just to, that's nice. Now, just here, I'm just going to put a little, there's a little bush. Yeah, it's kind of sticking out of the snow, and it's, see it there? It's where all these, you get little wildfowl and all that kind of stuff. They all sit in these bushes, don't they, in the winter? Isn't that nice, huh? Now, where's my, oh, there it is. Wasn't that a good idea, starting upside down? Ah, yes, this is a little piece of a twig sticking out of it, you see. Ah, it's an old, it's a kind of dead log or something, that, and of course the undergrowth is all growing around it and that. I think that's enough there, huh? Now we've got to get down the bottom here. Now this side first. Now under the tree, I'm going to assume that the light is coming this way because this side is light, that side is dark, and therefore this side should be dark and that side should be light. So we need a bit of a shadow here. So we take some blue and some light red. Remember that? Make sure when you do this now, take your time, get the colour right. A little test might be the thing here. Just foust it about a bit here. It does take a lot longer, you know. Now look, there's our test. And that's awful. That's all I can call it. That's a dreadful colour. Come on, back again now, lads. And he says, if you have a bad colour like that, just like I've done there, and you're not happy with it, don't attempt to put it on the paper. Say to yourself, throw it all away. You see, it's the meanness of painting again. We say to ourselves, oh, I don't want to waste the paint, so I'll put it on anyway. Sure, I can fix it later. No, you can't. No, absolutely not. And this is beginning to look a little better. Let's see how that looks. Ah, that's better. See, it's purplier, isn't it? Now, okay, now look, the tree goes like that, and I'm going to create a bit of an impression that, because the ground is up and down and all over the place, so. There we are. How's that looking? It's beginning to look good, isn't it? I think we'll just give that a bit of a dry because I want to get this part and then we'll come down the bottom of it and we'll get to the finishing. This is going to be nice. Promise you. Yeah, that's grand. Now, let me just get another little bit of small brush. Where are we? George Cole and Frederick Church. Did you ever hear of them? Well, you probably didn't. Well, let me tell you who they are. They were the founders, so to speak, of landscape painting in America. And they had a great effect on many things. One of the funny things was they actually helped tourism. Now, how would that happen? Well, they painted the Hudson River Valley, and they were known as the Hudson River Valley School of Painters. What the word that really means, it doesn't mean they went to school. No. When you say the Hudson River Valley School of Painters, it means that they actually got together and they painted that area. So it became the School of Painting. Do you understand that? That's where they painted. Now, because they painted such beautiful pictures of the Hudson River Valley, and indeed they went north as well, people in New York, the wealthy people again, said, hey, this place must be beautiful. So what did they do? They got their trains and off they went, and they arrived up into the Adirondaks and the Hudson River Valley. I got a little bird to stick in here. I was going to put some snow on the tree, but I'm not going to bother because I think it's nice without it. Now let's find me pen. Now here, I'll put it over here. Always sign it when they can see it. You know, in 100 years' time, when these pictures are all in sale, and your pictures as well, are in sale in Sotheby's or wherever it is for £1 million or $1 million, you want people to know who it is. Now, this is my little mount, little piece of paper which I bought in an art store, which anybody can buy, and always have one with you. Stick it on the painting and say, from Frank Clarke, as we say in Ireland, Slán Leat, which means goodbye, and look, try this out. You'll love it.
To help you achieve the best results from the lessons on Frank's YouTube channel, Frank has developed a range of quality products, including the watercolour brush set, which has the 1.5 and 3/4 inch goat ears and the number 3 rigger. Frank has also developed his own range of artist quality watercolour paints. These paints come in 12mm tubes and are the 8 colours Frank uses himself in his video tutorials. These products and many more can be viewed in detail at Frank's art store at simplypainting.com. If you prefer to order by phone, please use the following numbers. We ship worldwide.